Last summer I had a mission, and that mission was to prove that epee was a valid style when talking about lightsaber combat. To try and prove my point, I decided to participate in the TSL tournament happening at CombatCon. So I bought myself a basic lightsaber that looked like something from the movies, and then I got my flight to Vegas. So the rules are pretty simple. Just like in the movies, if you hit your opponent, then you get a point, but the points are determined by where you hit them on the body. And so just like in the movies, you're assuming that if you were to hit them with the lightsaber, they get charred or burned or whatever. Your goal is ultimately to get to the amount of points required, or to have more points by the time is over. After checking out some of the fighters, I decided to go get all my equipment and try and figure out how it would feel, because I knew that most of what I was getting was going to be way thicker than what I was used to.
Okay, so a few things to address. I'm used to this type of glove. Nice and soft and nice. But now I'm dealing with this chunky bastard. And it's comfortable. Nothing to complain about really, but the way I want to hold it, like fencing style like this, leads my index finger to rub up against the glove. So what I bought was these little finger condoms so that I don't rub my finger raw. It's meant to put medicine up your butt, but for me it's gonna stop my hand from going raw or my finger from going raw. So we'll see how that goes.
And with that revelation, I fiddled with my new lightsaber all night long. But even after a night of fiddling, I didn't realize that my lightsaber wasn't long enough, but you'll see what I mean later.
So I've locked myself out of my room and I missed my event, but they moved me to Saturday. So that's not so bad, but I'm kind of pissed because it was ready to go. But yeah, I ran out without my key, so here I am waiting. It's been an hour, but at least I am not completely out of the tournament yet.
So as I realized that my pool had been changed, I decided to do something that you do in a normal fencing tournament, which is look up your opponents the night before. And then I realized how much my destiny had changed just because I forgot my key in the hotel room. What I mean by that is that I plugged in the names I had for the next day, and I kept getting results on Google like crazy, which is rare for such a small community. What that told me either is that they're really good at publishing their people, or these guys were really, really good. So to further my curiosity, I decided to look at videos of these guys fighting. And what I realized is that they did know what they were doing, and they were really good. They looked actually martially competent. Not to say that other people weren't, but it looked like a bunch of people who really like lightsabers and were fighting and playing the sport. These guys looked like they meant business, and that they had techniques that they had practiced over time and were developing stuff. It looked like, oh, okay, fine. Because mind you, as reference, I looked up my previous opponents from the last bracket I was in that I missed because I lost my key, and I didn't find shit. So I realized instantly what this was going to be.
I'm in danger!
So this man is damn technical, and I think we had a really fun match, but I want you to look and see if you can see the difference between me and him, other than his armor is pretty much cooler than mine. 1, 2, okay, you should be able to see it by now. So down below in red, you'll see that the max hilt length is 16 inches, and I thought that was a cool allowance to let people have like variety with their weapons. But what I didn't realize was that that was the meta of the whole tournament, so I was at a huge disadvantage here. So I was trying to test my style with weapons similar to the movies, but everybody in this tournament had a full average male length difference in their hands. And now, even in realizing that, I still had a lot of fun. I tried a whole bunch of little tricks. I tried to be sneaky with it, but it's really hard when someone is actually skilled and has a reach advantage that they can manipulate. Even with all those factors, though, I can see why my opponent has won so many tournaments. He's calm, he's precise, he's patient, and he really doesn't give anything away for free. Now, that being said, a whole bunch of people offered me a meta-length saber, but the little prick in me decided that no, I had to do this testing, so I continued my next match with my same saber. So Joe came in here and gave me a royal spanking. The pressure this man puts down is intense, and it feels like he's always encroaching on you. He's always coming in, creeping, and then launching an attack. And honestly, with the reduced dexterity of my gloves, I feel like I couldn't fight him blade on blade, so I was having a lot of trouble trying to counter him. After a few exchanges, I came to the conclusion that it might be time for me to switch to two-handed. Like you can watch me here trying to trick him out, and then I just swap. Doing that, I felt more confident with blade contact, but then he swapped to the back of his handle and started using the range against me. Joe's style is so direct that it really doesn't give me time to think, so any tricks I might want to pull off, or even misdirection, just don't work, because even as you do it, he just goes right through. I tried a lot of things, but he just said no. I did a lot of cuts for the sake of the video, but I'll post the full fights up on my channel like shortly after this video goes up, so you can see like the progression of how the match goes and how well I hold myself as these guys fillet me alive. My last ditch effort here was to play a distance game with my blade out of contact range, but it didn't work as well as I'd like in the end. Also, don't let the video fool you. Joe is a true gentleman while he's beating your ass and after the fact. Look at that respect.
Mama, life had just begun.
After getting my hands on a meta-length lightsaber, I held it as far back as I could, and I ended up winning that final match. Unfortunately, I'm an idiot, and in editing the video so I could post it online, I edited the original video and I didn't make a separate copy. So that scene you just saw that I have on repeat right now is all I have from that final match. That being said though, I do plan to run this test again, and as you can see here with my friend, there is a one-handed lightsaber at the full meta length that is possible to be used, and this man's a fencer himself, he's a saber fencer, so I'm probably going to try again this year, but using the same saber that my friend Nathan here is using. That way, I can still run the test and it'll still be valid, because I'll be using it one hand like a fencer, but this time I will not have the disadvantage of the length. I want to thank everybody from this tournament, from the participants to the organizers, because I felt super welcome, and I definitely want to come back and fence them again.